Hi, Karen Curry Parker here with your weekly Human Design Evolution Report. There are a lot of different tacks that I could take on the conversation this week, but I really want to talk about the theme of tension and the theme of breaking through for the sake of growth and expansion. You probably have noticed over the last couple of weeks that there's been a lot of tension. Part of what's going on is we've got a lot of energy for fighting happening in the transits, and it's still there. And actually, it's really kind of prominent in our relationship sector this week. So we have a lot of energy that, when it's not directed with consciousness, can be fighting simply for the sake of fighting. So there, whenever that fighting energy comes in, it gives us tension. It breaks into our energy field, it gets under our skin, and if we're not clear about what it's about, we just feel like punching each other for no reason to a certain degree. And certainly, if you've been living in the United States and following the election, I think you see a really great example of this just generalized tension and sort of irritability that everybody's kind of experiencing. That's been on a collective level, and it's certainly in the collective planets right now, and will be until the end of the month, when that theme gets replaced by a theme of burnout, where, by the end of the month, this is Karen predicting here, by the end of the month, we are going to be so burned out on all this fighting that we are going to shift our focus to rest and restoration, renewal, and realigning with integrity by the time the elections come around. So we'll see how this cycle ends up, because it's kind of challenging right now. I don't know if you guys feel it, but I just feel like everybody's fighting about something, and it's edgy and it's uncomfortable. But it's a really important energy, because this energy of fighting, and again, pay attention to this particularly in your personal relationships this week. This energy of fighting is ultimately teaching us about what's really worth fighting for. We are going through and looking at, what do we need to change? Where do we need to grow? Where do we need to evolve? What patterns need to be healed? What patterns need to be realigned? And in our personal relationships and in our collective relationships too, but as I said, strongly this week in your personal relationships, we're really asking ourselves, what's worth fighting for? Are there elements in your relationship that you need to look at and bring to the surface and dialogue about and clarify? Are there struggles and challenges in your relationships that are happening right now that are really important that you stick to and adhere to for the sake of your growth and expansion? We are discovering or reclarifying or moving towards a greater understanding of what's truly valuable and meaningful in our lives. And from that platform, when we launch into November, we are stepping onto a new platform with renewed meaning, renewed clarity, renewed alignment with integrity and value. So don't lose hope, those of you in America. So it's coming, but for us to get there, we have to be clear about what are the values, what's the growth and expansion, what are the fights, the good fights that we're willing to have, that we need to have in order to fight for right, in order to fight for growth and expansion, in order to fight for integrity and realignment. But it's a tense energy. It's definitely a tense energy. So certainly I would say, take some deep breaths in any kind of confrontation that you might be having in your personal relationships. Really take the time for clarity and not be reactive, but instead be deliberate and conscious. Stay in the question of your relationship. What is really meaningful here? What is really worth fighting for? What can I do to bring myself closer to the fullest expression of love in this situation? What's really meaningful? These are important questions to really engage in with yourself before you go back into your relationship and deal with perhaps the things that need to be fought for. If you can stay from a place of consciousness and deliberation, if you can be really clear that you're discovering and sorting through and teasing out those things that are really valuable, those things that are really worth maintaining and sustaining, and those things that are really worth growing. When you can keep your focus on that, it'll keep you from being reactive and ultimately destructive. Recognize that there is this tension inherent in the growth process. So if you want to use the American elections as a metaphor, the tension and the discomfort that we are sensing actually is pushing us towards a cycle of re-clarifying what's important, re-clarifying what's truly valuable, and really rolling our sleeves back up collectively to fight the good fight, to push for what is really meaningful and what really is going to bring us back into alignment with integrity. So do this on a collective level. Do this when you think about politics. Certainly, most importantly this week, do this on a personal level. Really tune into yourself. Ask yourself, what's the greatest, most expansive way that I can express love and meaning? What's really the greatest, most expansive way for me to discover the good fight in my life? And how can I, with great consciousness and deliberation, bring out the highest expression of the meaning and the love and the value and the preciousness of all that is good in my life this week? Have a wonderful week. Take good care of yourselves. As always, breathe. Nurture yourselves deeply. Be deliberate. I'll talk to you next week.